Hello, hello, hello. Pond here with another video for Rise of Empires Ice and Fire. Hi guys, just a little homage there to Mr. Gill, and big thanks to him for sharing my channel on his channel. I really appreciate the support, and it's quite humbling actually that he's given me some shout outs on his channel, so I just wanted to do that different intro as a thank you to him today. What are we going to be talking about? Well, it's a Wednesday, it's research, so I thought it would be good. One of the requests that I've had on the videos is to do a couple of videos on master research. So we're going to do this over 4 parts, just because each research is quite detailed. There's quite a few elements to them, and I don't want to be going into a massively long video about it. So there'll be 2 parts for master warfare and 2 parts for master defense researches. So this is going to be part 1. For those of you in younger states that might not be at C24 yet, castle level 24, what is this master research that I'm talking about? Well, if we go into the institute and click on research, you'll see when you start the game up between levels 1 and 23, you'll see these options, the top 4 rows. And then once you hit castle level 24, you will see master warfare and master city defense pop up in your options in the institute as well, but they will be kind of grayed out at that point. You won't be able to access them. And the reason for that is you can only start unlocking master research at level 25 of your institute. They both require your institute to be at level 25. So you're going to need to be saving that marble, as it does cost well over 100 million marble to get your institute up to level 25. But once you do that, you're then going to have access to these master researches. Why are they important? Well, in terms of master warfare, the clue is in the name. It's going to give you a lot of strong buffs for the offensive part of the game. When you are sieging other players, or taking tiles, anything offensive, you're going to get benefits, bonuses in this research. For Master City Defense, again, as it says, this is going to provide lots of buffs to your account for various parts of your defense, and that includes upgrades to your watchtower, and probably the biggest single thing is actually you will gain a 5th defensive legion. That you will stay in your castle, and if someone sieges you, that legion will be active and help defend your castle. So there's some very big elements to both of these researches. I guess a question that a lot of people would probably want to know is, when would you start working on them? Because let's get the worst bit out of the way first. Both of these researches, every single segment of them requires medals, courage medals to complete. And this is the developer's way of kind of, once you get to castle level 25, there's still another year's worth of research to do. And yes, I did just say that right. It will take you a good year if you're a free-to-play player, or someone that is not spending money to gain courage medals. It will take you a year at least to complete both of these researches. Again, I know a lot of players are a bit precious about, telling people about where their research levels are. I run a YouTube channel, people are going to find out what happens in my account, what heroes I have. I'm not too bothered about that. As you know, I'm happy to share information about my account. So as you can see, I've got up to 86% on Master Warfare, 28% on Master City Defense, 86% on Warfare is a very good level. I'm gaining a lot of the benefits. Well, I've unlocked every segment, every section of the research now, so I'm getting multiple benefits from this research, and we'll start looking at those in a minute. In terms of when do you start using your medals on these researches? Well, obviously one of the core goals of the game after reaching castle level 25 is that you're going to want to unlock your first T9. That is an absolute given. You're going to want to unlock at least one T9 troop type, which will most likely be cavalry, but it could be archers if you're a big spender, or you have good levels of archer heroes before season 2 of Reign of Chaos. Once you've unlocked your first set of T9, it's up to you. I know some players that spend then 90% of their medals upgrading warfare, and then they'll spend about 10%, 20% on, working towards their next T9. For me, I spent about 75% of my medals on warfare and 25% on doing my footmen training to get that as my second T9. But I already had footmen up to around 70% complete when I went to castle level 25, so it wasn't like it was a super low level. So some people do go straight in and do a second T9. Some people split their medals. Some people want to just focus on warfare and straight away after the first T9. Various experienced players have done it in different ways, but for me, I would definitely suggest expending some medals on Master Warfare once you've got your first T9, because it is going to give you some very valuable buffs for your sieging. As you can see, I haven't finished Archer training. I'm only on 81% for that, so ironically my Master Warfare is now ahead of my Archer training. Again, as everyone knows, my Archer heroes are so weak. It's just it's better for me to expend medals in Master Warfare and get the benefits across the other two troop types for cavalry and footmen that I'm using every day in my legions. So that's why I've focused on Master Warfare. Once I get close to maybe 90% on Master Warfare, I'm going to focus a bit more on Archer training and finish that. Plus I want to do that video as well in this account. And then obviously I think once I've done Archer training, I will put more focus onto Master City Defense. I want to get that 5th Defensive Legion and some of the other benefits and buffs that's going to give. So that's kind of like an overview of the research and potential options for what you want to do. So let's get straight into Master Warfare and have a look. This is the bottom of the tree, research tree. We're going to look at these in part 2. As you can see, I have maxed a lot of this. And what you'll also notice is there's a lot to do. So as I say, be under you must be prepared when you start doing your Master Warfare. It is going to take you months to finish if you're a free-to-play player. I've been doing this since, we're in September now, I've been doing this since January, I think, probably January, maybe February, and I have been swapping some of my tokens in the bar for the 50, for the packs of 50 courage medals, so that was kind of pushing up the natural amount I was making. Obviously you get courage medals from your Clash of Province rewards, so if you're getting 9 boxes every day, that's going to help your completion of this as well, and that's going to be key. So first section on Master Warfare is Payload Improvement. Pretty simple. It's going to help increase the load that your legions can carry, and it is going to increase it by up to 20%. There's 20 segments, it increases by 1% each time. One thing to note, these kind of early sections, the first 20% of Master Warfare, probably down to about lethal weapons. It uses quite low levels of medals. So you will get like the first 20-25% of Master Warfare completed pretty quickly. But then after that, it really is going to slow down, and you're only going to do maybe 2, 3, 4, 5% a week max. This week I started earlier on today at 85%, and you can see that I've used over 20,000 medals today. I think I used about 23,000 medals, and I'm only up to 86%. So that is where it is such a grind. But also you'll be pleased to know that, kind of unlike the later stages of unlocking your T9s, nearly all of this master research doesn't need crazy amounts of resources. We're not talking about 30 or 40 million iron for individual segments. Some elements will take 10 or 20 million, but that's quite far down. These early segments, you're looking at hundreds of thousands or a few million to finish them. So it shouldn't, if you're at this level doing Master Warfare, you should be okay in terms of the resources that you're generating in your account and what you'll have them free to utilize on this research. So on to the next section, Assault. So as you can see, it's split for each troop type: footmen, archers and cavalry assault. We click on this, cavalry siege value increase, and this will give you, there's 10 segments, and each segment will give you an extra percentage on your cavalry siege value. What does that mean? If you have, let's go into lead, come out and look in legions quickly. You see your demolition value here? That's what they're talking about. It's going to give you 10% extra demolition value. So that means you can obviously take tiles easier during your Reign of Chaos seasons, and it will increase the amount that you're destroying, removing from a castle as well, don't forget, in terms of the fortification value for those castles. So it'd be easier to zero a castle. Whether that's good or bad, in your opinion, depends on if you're raiding it for lots of resources and you zero it straight away. But that's what's going to happen anyway with the assault level. And just a quick point on that, you'll see there is a second section of that towards the end of Master Warfare as well, and that's going to give you an extra 10% from there as well. So back to the top, then we've got full-on assault. Increase marching speed to siege, so you get a 20% buff. It will speed up the marching speed that your troops will go towards a castle that they're sieging. Pretty simple. Next section, we've got footman mobilization, archer recruitment, cavalry recruitment, and again this is to do with increased siege might. So current level, and it will do, there's 20 segments again, as you can see it's 20 of 20. 1% for each segment. It's going to increase, and that's going to increase the damage that your troops will do to your opponent's troops when you're sieging them, whether that be footmen, archers or cavalry. As you can see, just these different sections increase cavalry siege might, archers siege might. Next section, heavy shield, iron armor, heavy rider. Increase footman siege resistance, again 20 segments and 1% per segment buff. And as you can see, archers and cavalry siege resistance, so that will improve the amount of it will reduce the amount of damage that your opponents can do to your own troops. It will improve their defensive capabilities. That's what resistance is all about. On to this next single section, lethal weapons. Single player siege victory, enemy death rate. It's going to increase it 10 segments, 1% per segment as usual, up to the maximum of 10%. And basically it just means that when you're sieging against another opponent, your troops will kill rather than injure. It'll increase the amount of troops that you kill by 10% rather than just injuring them. So that's good, obviously, for kill events, as you know, KE Saturdays, and if you choose it on a Sunday. If when you're sieging you're killing more troops, you're going to get more points. It's easier to get your 9 boxes. So there you go with that one. Then we're on to another split section again. Agile, quick shots, giddy up. Agile, increase footman combat speed. And then you've got it, archer combat speed and cavalry combat speed. And this is going to increase it again 20 segments. It's 5 points. Sorry, it's not 5 points. It starts with just the individual increases for the first 4 levels. Then it goes up to 2 points all the way down to level 14 in fact. And then after level 14, it's going to increase it by 4 points up to a maximum of 50 points on your combat speed. What will combat speed do? The higher the combat speed you have, if you have a higher combat speed, then your opponent, your troops are going to attack first. So because they're quicker. What's the benefit there? Well, you could potentially, if you're attacking first before your opponent, you're doing damage first, you could potentially win the battle before they do. So pretty simple. Unlock smoke signal. Interesting one, this. After a failed siege, and if the defending side loses a certain amount of units, but the game doesn't stipulate what amount, their might and resistance will be lowered. So, if you are sieging an opponent, but you lose, but you still manage to defeat a certain amount of their units, if you then hit them again, the might and resistance the second time round on those troops in that account will be lower. So the benefit of this buff is that if you hit someone multiple times, on the second time after, it will you're more likely to win the battle, basically. As you see here, after a failed siege, and if the on the next section, the debuff will not stack if the smoke signal is activated multiple times, but the duration will reset. So what that means is this debuff won't increase. You know, if you attack them a second and third time, it's not going to increase the amount of might or resistance that the opponent loses, but it will still be active each time that you do attack again. And then for the next section, disarm and armor pierce, it's linked to it. So increase might debuff after destruction. So if you attack, as it says, if you've attacked a castle and then you attack again, it will debuff the troops' might in that castle by up to 10%, because there's 10 levels to this. And for armor piercing, it will increase the resistance debuff after destruction. So the enemy's troops will be less resistant to your troops. Your troops will be able to do more damage. On to paralysis. Destruction duration increased 15 levels to this, and it starts at 50 and then increases up to 600. Scaling up from this initial 50, it goes 30 points per time up to level 9, where it then increases by 50 points per time up to level 15. We'll go on to the next section. This will be the last section that I talk about in this video. So we've got Footmen Strike, Archer Strike, Cavalry Strike. Footmen skill might increased, Archer's skill might increased, and Cavalry skill might increased. Again, this is 20 segments this time, 1% per segment increase. Skill might is it's the tactical might, as you'll see in the battle report. So you won't see the word skill in your battle reports. You'll see tactical might, and this is an extra 20% buff on your tactical might. And what does that mean? That is the damage that a hero's skills are going to do to the opponent's troops. Okay, and then footmen resistance, archers resistance, cavalry resistance. This is footmen's skill resistance increased, archer skill resistance increased, and cavalry skill resistance increased. Again, 20 segments to it, and it's going to increase 1% each segment. And this is the amount of defensive ability so that your troops will have against your opponent's hero skills. So the higher your skill resistance, the less damage their skills will do to your troops. Okay. And I'm going to leave the second section for another video, because I don't want this video to go on too long, and I'd rather people do actually, you know, enjoy it and get to watch it, all of it. So we're going to leave Battle Scar and the rest of this for another day. There's not too much to go through, actually. It will be a quicker video than this. So that is part 1 of Master Warfare Research, guys. I hope you found that interesting, and for those of you that are in the earlier months of the game, you're going to know what's on the long road ahead for you. As I said, it is a grind. I think basically the developers, when they've made this game, they're looking at us wanting to play it for, I would say, at least 2 years, based on the way that things are structured. So if you're a free-to-play player, really you could be getting enough new gameplay out of this for up to 2 years. It's just dependent on you know, how much you're active in developing your account. It could even be longer than 2 years, to be honest. How do you do in terms of your scores on Master Warfare for your daily Clash of Province event, if that's the only thing you're doing? Well, as you can see, let's have a look in the rankings. Shout out to my boy Hacky. He's just unlocked his T9 Footmen today, so he's currently MVP in our 2 states in Clash of Province. Well done, Hacky. He might have had some iron from one of the pond farms to help him out with that. So I'm currently ranked 13th in my own province, 24th out of the 2 provinces, and I've managed to get nearly 300 million points just by doing a few segments of Master Warfare Research. What does that mean? Well, generally a lot of these segments in Master Warfare have very high power increases. The higher the power increase, the more points you get in Clash of Province. So you shouldn't find it too difficult to hit your 9 boxes when you're doing more Master Warfare, particularly if you've got a few segments spare in accessories production research that you can use in an emergency if you've run out of medals. So there we go, guys. That is the first part of Master Warfare research. Cool, that's a mouthful. Thank you for all the support on the channel. It's been fantastic the last few days. I'm racing towards 600 subscribers in the space of 2 days. Gone from 500 to 560, so that's brilliant. Thank you so much. I am now on the kind of all-state Discord group as well, so I am. The people that are running that have been kind enough to give me like an ask questions section on there, along with next to Mr. Gill. So that is another kind of media that you can contact me on to ask questions. I know people are already sending questions on here and also to me directly on my account. So again, I will do my best to answer as many questions as I can when I can. And if you haven't already, please do click that subscribe, ring that bell, share my channel in your alliance chats and state chats, and of course like some videos and place any comments that you do have in the section below. And that's it for now. Thanks for watching, and I will see you soon.